Hey everybody, Sam Kavaris and the Nimnik Sports Update powered by Budweiser. That Penn State tragedy continues to unfold, and I really don't think that we've seen all of the answers yet, and certainly not all of the information. The timeline needs to be more clear for everybody, but certainly the administration's move, not only to get rid of the president, but also to fire Joe Paterno, is the right thing for them to move past and focus on the victims instead of who did what when. That's really not important, and that'll all flesh itself out at some point. But at this point, it's the focus on the victims. I think that's important so far. 9 victims have come forward. Jerry Sandusky is out of jail on a $100,000 bond, and that whole legal process will go through. Mike McCrary, the assistant, the graduate assistant at the time, and then the assistant coach, also now off the sidelines and not coaching, apparently under a variety of different threats. And I think that the administration there is trying to figure out how to move him out without being sued. So a lot of moving parts there. It's a tragic story from top to bottom, and but it is a story that will continue to unfold, and we'll continue to update you on that as well. Florida and South Carolina is a very different matchup. This weekend, the Gators don't have that same animosity towards Steve Spurrier. I think this is the 5th Florida coach that Spurrier is going to coach against. You know, Will Muschamp. It'll be interesting to see how. Is that right? What do they got? Zook, and then Meyer, and then Muschamp. So the third one. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. South Carolina is still trying to stay in that SEC East race. The Gators are trying to win a game to get a little closer to becoming bowl eligible. Florida State and Miami is certainly not what it was, but it is still a big rivalry because it seems like everybody on those two teams knows each other, and the winner regains again some ACC superiority as well. Speaking of Florida State, their basketball team beat JU, and the Dolphins are kind of almost rebuilding this year, you might say, under Cliff Warren, while Florida State has a lot of the same guys: Michael Snare, Davidus Dulkes, guys that you've heard of, and we'll see how they fare in ACC play. The Gators are a whole different story. If they come through this year with some of the freshmen that are playing and with some of the transfers that are playing, they could be very scary, particularly if Patrick Young is a dominant inside presence. They end up winning against Jackson State on Friday night, running away, and they shot very well from beyond the 3 once again, so we'll follow that. Jaguars against Indianapolis, that's a game where, boy, the Jaguars don't want to lose to a winless team, but there's not a single Jaguar fan that's not saying, we could lose to those guys. So obviously that's an important game for them on Sunday. And Joe Frazier died this week at 67 years old. Frazier probably doesn't get enough credit for the kind of fighter he was because he was such a mauling kind of fighter. But when you go back and look at his fights, very technical, very solid with the left hook. Didn't really play a lot of defense while he was in there. And the Thrilla in Manila, if you get a chance to see that, we're talking about one of the maybe the single greatest fight of all time. Neither man was right ever after that. Ali said that it was the closest to hell he ever wants to get. I'm Sam Kavaris, and that's the Nimnik Sports Update powered by Budweiser.